Hey there everybody, this is Earl Harville from Harville Vocal Studio coming back at you with part 2 of my series on the vocal warm-up. The first segment was on the beginning stage of the warm-up. It's the stretch. It's how we increase blood flow to the vocal folds, how we establish this very small but very focused column of air so that we're not using more air than the vocal folds can handle. So it's easy for us to gain access to our higher notes while starting to be able to bridge from our chest voice through our middle voice into our head voice. Well, now that we've done that, we're going to move into a segment that's going to add a little bit more weight to the voice, but without pushing, without using an excess of air. We're going to go into the exercises called the Pharyngeal Exercises. They are very bratty, very brassy, very bright. If you think of a witch, if we think of that kind of Halloween thing, that gives you that very bright cutting sound that is able to project without you having to push for it. They're called pharyngeal because they resonate in the throat cavity, which is called the pharynx. So these exercises are important if we're going to gain power without push, and again they will help to connect from chest voice into our middle voice really easily. We're going to start simply by just saying meow like a cat. Meow, 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 meow. And you see we glide effortlessly from your chest voice into middle voice and even into head voice. We don't hear any clicking. We don't hear any switches of the registers. That sound enables the vocal cords to close very nicely, allows them to be able to stretch easily so that we get those transitions. Once you've done that a few times, just kind of stretching the voice using that kind of bright, brassy sound, then we're going to now apply it to some scales. First of all, we're going to go with the sound nay. The N sound, just like the NG sound we dealt with the first time, helps to get that brassy resonance ringing. And the A vowel is naturally very bright. So these kind of combine for a really great warm-up. So I'm going to start down here, and we're going to very simply nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Now for me as a baritone, I'm already going through my first bridge, and you see that I'm not flipping to falsetto or a light head voice, but I'm not pushing my chest voice. I'm not going nay, 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 nor am I going nay, 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 which is pulling chest. We don't want that. This allows me to be able to connect very easily. Nay, 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 nay. As I sing higher, the resonance is going to shift. Nay, 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 nay. I don't have to get in the way and try to add more air. Nay, 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 nay. 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 Now I'm hitting the second bridge, so as a guy, I'm about to go into head voice. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. And that was all the way up to the male high C. And there was no disconnecting. There was no breaking into, again, a falsetto, but nor did I have to feel like I had to push my chest voice up. We could use that pattern. We could use the octave and a half pattern. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Then at some point we also want to do the octave repeat, where you're going to repeat the top note 4 times. This is going to give the vocal folds a little extra time to gain that muscle memory for how the chords need to close and how they need to balance with the airflow so we get the exact sound we want. So you're going to do this. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. I'm not pushing. Nay, 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 nay. And notice I'm not going super wide to do it. Nay, 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 nay. Because that's going to make my larynx pull up even more. Now, one issue with the pharyngeal sounds is that the larynx does rise a little bit more than we want it to during normal singing. But we'll do some other exercises a little bit later that will help normalize the larynx position a little bit more. But this, again, does a great job of getting good vocal cord closure and allowing us to seamlessly move back and forth between registers. All right, so we move from na to na, same kind of thing. Na 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 na. Or you could do the octave and a half pattern. Na 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 na. And then again you can move on to the octave with the repeat. Na 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 na. Again, you don't want to feel like you're starting to have a buildup of pressure, and that you don't realize that you don't have to push chest. Na 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 na. Now, another one that I like is just to use the sound of a crying baby. Wah, wah, wah. Again, I get a lot of bite in the sound. There's a lot of nasal resonance, not to be confused with nasality, which we'll talk about later. But nasal resonance, that's really important to cut through, to allow the sound to carry without having to increase airflow and push. So I like to do this. Again, it's seamless because I'm not trying to amp up the airflow. I'm trying to keep a very consistent airflow from chest through the middle voice into head voice. The truth is that as you sing higher, you actually will use less air, but it will spin faster. That's a concept you need to remember. I'm going to say it again. As you sing higher, because your vocal cords will be thinning out and stretching, you're actually going to need less air. It just will spin faster. Keep that in mind. That's going to be a concept we come back to often. Now, after that one, we're going to go back to meow. What we did earlier, meow, 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 meow. We're going to put it on a scale now. We're going to do meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Again, that took me through my first bridge as a bass baritone. And I'm able to stay connected. I don't flip into falsetto, but I don't start amping up and start to push chest voice up higher than it belongs. These exercises, again, are very important to allow us to develop that resonance we need in the voice. Now, we need a balanced voice, so we can't just have all of the brassiness, but this is an important part of the sound that even great opera singers, such as Luciano Pavarotti, would have had in his sound. That pharyngeal is important to save you from wear and tear on your cords by pushing for too much sound with too much air. I will say over and over again to you, you have to be careful about using too much air because it can cause some problems down the line for your folds. Issues with nodules and that kind of thing. Use these pharyngeal sounds. They will help you to gain more power, less push, less fatigue. The next time in part 3, we're going to kind of counterbalance it, where now we've done these very bright sounds where slightly raised larynx. Next time, we're going to work on lowering the larynx a little bit, making sure that the swallowing muscles don't get involved and put a lot of larynx up. Try these exercises. Not only are they very efficient, they're fun, you sound ridiculous, but they're so great for you. And you should have fun while you're learning to develop the voice. So these kind of allow you to go back and be a kid while you're exploring your voice and developing your vocal coordination. All right. Look forward to my vocal training program, The Vocal Athlete, which is coming later this summer. Skype lessons are beginning in July. So you can go to www.harvillevocal.musicteachershelper.com, which is my website, and find out more information. Or you can find me on Facebook, Harville Vocal Studio. Have fun. Happy singing. Bye-bye.